Hi, Sarah and Dan here. We're back to talk to you a little bit more about our recovery program at Trails Momentum for our young adults who come to us with video game addiction. The third component of our program is really central to the young adult themselves, and it's about them exploring who they are, what they value, and how they're going to move forward with their lives with a complete self and like learn how to take care of themselves in a way that's going to help them accomplish their goals, right? So that's probably like a lot of discussion. I mean, that's a lot of time with you, right? As a therapist?
Yes.
What does that look like?
So we want to do a couple things. One is when we begin to explore values with the students, oftentimes when we talk about it, they don't know what we're talking about. They don't understand that they begin, it's this time in life that they begin to choose what's theirs.
Right.
They need to think about that.
Right.
So we frame it that way oftentimes, and the whole goal of having them discover values is around, we want to switch the game, the screen, the peers from being their compass to their own values being their compass.
Sure.
And so we do that in a lot of different areas at Momentum. One is that in personal therapy or individual therapy, we do it through things like motivational interviewing.
Okay.
We have them make out lists, we challenge their lists, we talk through their lists, we help to define what values mean for them.
Right, pretty intensive stuff.
Right. Yeah, it is pretty intense. Groups are also a place that people explore their values and have a chance to even try them on. When somebody disagrees with them, they're able to say, do I want to stay with this value or not?
Right, have some dual perspective with some of those. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are a couple of ways that we do it. I think also in the classroom.
Yeah.
You all do that?
We do. Yeah, we talk about, especially when it comes to like self-leadership and how they see themselves moving forward in life, we ask them, what are some of the things that you think are really central to you leading yourself, to you leading others, so that you can be the most productive, the most successful to, and reach your goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once they have these values in place and they've kind of, like you said, kind of started working with them, then they transition those into some goals, right? And they make goal statements.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the hope is, again, that it becomes their compass.
Sure.
And then we bring them back into, okay, so where does gaming fit into that?
Yeah.
And oftentimes there's sort of a wake-up call somewhere in that they're like, wow, wait a minute, I never thought of gaming as a value.
Right.
And then they begin to explore, what do I want my identity to be? Where do I want to be recognized? Who do I want to be connected to? That matches my values.
Right.
Somebody who spends hours and hours on a screen, or a really good friend that we can go and do things together.
Right. And so it's not necessarily to say that a young adult would go through the program at Trails Momentum and graduate and say, like, I never want to play video games again. That's not necessarily our goal. Our goal is to help them feel like they are empowered to make the choice that's best for their goals and move forward in a balanced way so they can accomplish everything they want.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're not asking them to never look at a screen again.
No, that's not
that
realistic.
Wouldn't be recovery, and that's not realistic in this day and age.
Right.
But what we want to do is to move them away from the screen as a place to escape and to try and get those brain chemicals going.
Sure.
In order to not feel certain things or not deal with life.
Sure. Okay. So some of this brings up questions for families and young adults themselves who may be working on or living life with autism. How does this look different for young adults on the autism spectrum? How do you do this for those young adults?
I think one thing that we do is we help to be a mirror back to them.
Okay.
We help them in talking about what are some common things that happen for folks who struggle with autism spectrum. We help them to be able to discover and to see, this is your black and white thinking. This isn't necessarily reality. It's like how rigid it can feel to you. Also around things like some real, how they get really, really, really rigid in how they view the world.
Right.
And so we want them to see that's what they do.
Sure.
So they can make choices out of their own values and out of their own insight. How do I want to do this differently?
Right. So we just call a little bit more attention to some of those behaviors so that they can recognize them. Yeah. And again, they can still make those choices for themselves with that therapeutic support.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And our hope is they begin to understand it and they begin to normalize it, and they begin to let go of that whole narrative inside that says there's something wrong with me.
Right. So once our young adults have given themselves a break from the video gaming and they've replaced that addiction, they're really able to do this important internal work where they can start to think about their values and start making plans for their future. That was our third installment of our treatment or recovery program here at Trails Momentum, and we'd like to talk to you more, so stay tuned. Next we're going to talk about how we educate our students and their families around the science of addiction.